drugs actually do. But we can watch
Emails,
this. We can watch this
blood
for a bit.
test results, and a full steroid cycle breakdown. That's what we're going to be getting into in this video, and it is shocking to say the least. Before we do though, it only feels fitting to go back to the beginning because this very much feels like a story that has come full circle for us on this channel and do it the justice it deserves by fleshing it out from inception. When I first noticed the Liver King, he had 1% of the following he does now across all platforms, if that. And within a year, he has managed to build a fan base of millions of followers and has been on several of the biggest podcasts in the world, echoing his message to the masses. His message centers around 9 core ancestral tenets, which have remained the cornerstone of his content since day one. Sleep, eat, move, shield, connect, cold, sun, fight, and bond. And apparently there's a 10th one he sometimes likes to throw in there, which is fun. Liver King believes the modern world
Naughty or
has
not
made men
videos.
soft, and it's his duty to
I mean,
empower
I
the
only know
masses to
him from
become
this.
jacked,
I'll give it a
high
stat.
testosterone, metabolically and cognitively peaked primals with a higher quality of life, and to inspire change and achieve this and be maximum impact. He does it through as
What's
viral
TRT clinic?
of content as possible. He walks the walk and shows off the polar extreme of ancestral living, which includes being shirtless essentially in perpetuity, doing hard shit constantly via heavy weight training, and unorthodox, difficult fitness challenges, as well as showing off the ancestrally consistent meat and organs he eats huge quantities of, and this includes heart, raw testicles, liver, etc., and flying around the world to share his beliefs about health and vitality.
Testosterone replacement
I
therapy.
saw Liver King's
Yeah, okay,
content for the
okay.
first time in September last
I mean,
year.
doesn't
shortly after he
Joe
started
Rogan
his
do the same thing?
social media
Slightly?
push.
He
I
does
think his first post was
testosterone replacement
August
therapy.
2021, if I'm not mistaken. I started getting tagged more and more on his content when people started noticing he was implying heavily that his physique was achieved solely by following the 9 ancestral tenets and was not enhanced with steroids or any exogenous hormones or PEDs.
Have you seen that bloke that eats
here we go.
just the raw?
Yeah, that's a gimmick, that guy.
It just looks ridiculous.
Let me
He's
tell
got
you
a
something.
plate of hearts and it just looks weird.
He's got an ass filled with steroids, is what he's got.
Yeah, he should have a big
that is
plate
not-
of steroids next to it.
That is not a natural body.
Of course it's not.
That guy is shooting all kinds of shit into his system to achieve that kind of physique.
Completely.
Yeah, there's this guy Derek, who's been on my podcast before. He's got this web YouTube page, moreplatesmoredates.com is his website. You know that guy?
Imagine getting
And More
shouted
Plates, More
out
Dates,
by
the
Joe
YouTube
Rogan.
page did
Insane.
a whole takedown of, not a takedown, but again, an examination of this guy's claims that he's natural and that what he's, it's like living off the 9 pillars of health and sustainability or whatever the fuck it is, like liver and testicles and drinking blood, and like it's a gimmick.
Back then, he was
Dude, if
already
I
getting
drink too much
criticism
blood, I get heartburn. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if
for
I have
claiming
meat that
natural.
is too raw, it just, the blood gives you heartburn.
And since then, he's only managed
It's
to
bad,
get
man.
more jacked despite being in his mid-40s and traveling constantly and having more
Is he tensing, like all the time, or is that just natural?
on his plate than ever from a entrepreneurship perspective. In an effort to maintain full transparency, just like he does with his supposed natural status, Liver King has been very candid about the success of his portfolio of supplement companies.
Mine, Little Birdie told me that you're making over $100 million a year from your businesses. True or false?
True.
True. That's a pretty staggering accomplishment.
Now, understandably, this success draws a greater level of scrutiny to his claims
I could do that.
of being natural and his brand as a
Ew,
whole,
what's a
as there
butt
is
sweat?
a clear monetary incentive to promote what he does. And if he's on drugs after all, there is a clear monetary incentive to withhold that information from the public and lie about it to push his agenda. And this scrutiny has compounded exponentially over the past year, as Liver King has not just doubled down on his statements of claiming natural, but he has literally
Man's just gotta get on that elk
100-folded
meat,
down
man.
on it on several of
What
the
Joe Rogan has,
biggest
the elk meat.
podcasts in the world.
Regardless of whether you use stuff or not, like,
I don't.
Can they get a build like yours without taking them?
So I want to set the record straight. I want to expand and tell you why it's possible.
A year ago, maybe 2 years ago, it was all about like PEDs and steroids, right? And then, same question, same answer. I didn't touch the stuff, don't touch the stuff, right?
Joe Rogan criticized you. Joe Rogan's a big person in
Yeah.
terms of his platform is
Yeah.
big. How did that feel when he alluded that you're on steroids or something like that?
Yeah. Number one, I don't do it.
And number two, what I want you to say
Imagine
is,
not
you know what, I
doing
don't know.
steroids and then
I don't
actually
know.
doing
I mean, that guy,
steroids.
in fact, he did say he's in the 0.00001% of genetics if he does it naturally.
What is the Liver King's response to this claim that the Liver King is hormonally improved by science?
The question has always been, do you take steroids? Do you take PEDs? The answer to that is no. I've always told the truth. I still tell the truth. This is funny. People write in DMs.
Right.
And they're like, they tell me what I'm taking.
Right.
And then here's something else. I was just joking around. I'd like to get your opinion on this. You know, I thought, so again, for the record, I've never taken steroids.
Really?
I'm thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
Ancestral Tenant 10 is have a little fucking fun.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? If you've built this biological resilience, I always say, have a little poison. I'll drink, I'll do mushrooms, I'll do shit. Like every Saturday, I imbibe. I'm like, you know what? I'm healthy enough. If I want to do a cycle, I'm going to do a cycle. And how much you want to bet I turn into the Incredible fucking Hulk?
You're going to be terrified.
I want to be like this. Okay, you think this guy's on steroids, right? This is the guy who's on steroids. It's like if somebody has, let's say, 700, testosterone, free testosterone.
I wonder what his bones are like.
If they're taking steroids and they want to get up to 1,400 or 1,500 or whatever.
Because your bones don't get
That's what you
thicker
can
when
see
you
in people
build
with the 9
muscle.
ancestral
You know what I
tenants.
mean? They don't get
If you
like
do the 9 ancestral tenants and
they
you live
don't
in this
grow
way over this amount of
like they finish growing. Like it's not like muscles where they can get bigger.
So I think when
Like,
people
how small
see
is his
someone with
skeleton
your-
in comparison to
with
his
your
body?
they look at it and they think there's something going on here. There's gear, there's steroids, there's performance enhancing drugs. Talk to us about
Well,
whether
Tess
you
isn't
use
going to come
performance enhancing
back.
drugs or steroids or anything to get this physique.
Listen, I love this question. I've been getting this question since high school, and it's done more to lift the Liver King brand and message than any other question. So I hope you asking it
I
now
mean,
continues to do the same. The short answer is no.
Is
I don't touch
testosterone
this stuff.
replacement therapy
But
like
here's the deal. Isn't it just fucked up that a muscular, lean man
if everybody
has
is
to
on it, is it
justify
really
his
that
level of
like is it
fitness,
bad for you?
but
Like
a
how
fat,
what are the
lazy,
because I remember seeing
metabolically or a
I remember seeing Joe
skinny,
Rogan
fragile,
talk about it like it was like the saving
osteopathically
grace for
They
men.
don't have to justify
Like it
their
was making
lack of
it
fitness.
literally is a medical
Liver
breakthrough.
King, you're on steroids. You're on PEDs.
Like, is it really as bad as it-
And so it's like, okay, we had a lot of fun with that.
Like we
you know?
just
And then
generalize
we had a
steroids as a
doctor come
whole
on, we made a
blanket,
video.
like
If you
any
ever
talk,
Google,
any
Liver
sort
King's
of like
blood work, we had a
juice
legitimate doctor come
to
on. We
make
did,
you
like, a
stronger.
blood
But
work
like,
reveal. That was fun. But then the accusations never.
are there
stopped, so I'm
actually
like,
good
okay,
medical
I assumed
reasons
you
to
were on
use
steroids.
testosterone replacement
your
therapy? That's the
guys.
thing.
And I was
Is
like,
it
"Yeah,
actually a
steroids,
medical
right?" Like,
breakthrough?
People don't look like that.
Yeah,
They're
it
like,
makes
"No,
you
it's
stronger,
not."
but
And
is it
I
actually
think
good for you?
I'd heard Rogan say you were on steroids.
Everybody.
Men can
Now, obviously,
properly,
it would
physically,
not be
mentally.
very ancestrally consistent to be using synthetic.
I mean, yeah, that makes
lab
sense.
synthesized drugs to achieve the physique you then
As you
use
get
to
older, your
promote
body stops
the
making
9
as much
ancestral tenets.
testosterone as it did when
Complete
like you were in your
opposite
20s.
of what is
Or even
aligned
through
with that
puberty,
message, essentially.
your
Now, while
testosterone gets
nobody
completely
who's
jacked up. That's why you have
speculating
growth
truly knows the
spurts
answer,
and
it
a
does
whole
not
male
do him any
puberty
favors
because of
to lean in
testosterone.
and call those that doubt him
So-
subprimal
Yeah.
or to make jokes about those who suspect
Exactly.
he's on PEDs
And like
on a
I
regular
imagine if you
basis.
were
I'll tell
jacked
you this,
like
there's
in
a
your
lot of,
20s
subprimals
and as you get
that
older
are
you lose that
convinced that Liver
testosterone,
King
your
is
body
taking
would have a
steroids.
very strong negative
Steroids,
reaction to that.
primal or
I think that's just
subprimal?
nature.
Subprimal.
So it
Why?
makes
I'll
sense that
probably do
testosterone
CRT
replacement
once I-
therapy is actually a
once my,
really
T
good
levels
beneficial
start,
thing for these
I don't
people.
believe you. I think after we get to know
Like, is
each
it
other
really a
and you get
dirty
to know the
word
9
to say
ancestral
that
tenets,
he's
and you
on
get to
test?
understand,
I think
and
the
this stuff
problem is,
in the
isn't that he
literature,
was
want
taking them?
evidence-based
It's that he
literature
lied
instead of
about
the
it. I think that's the main
neuroscience.
thing.
Google this, and and
Like
use
Joe,
Google Scholar.
nobody's
You'll
attacking
find
Joe
this in
Rogan
the
for it,
literature
and he was
50
just
years
open with
ago.
it. The fact
We had
is, at the end of the day, he
50%
lied.
higher testosterone.
He lied.
Today, people take steroids to
Right.
increase their
Exactly, nobody
testosterone by
cares.
50%. So why not just do
I
these
agree.
ancestral tenets?
I
and
mean,
do it
I
naturally?
got good T levels currently. I'm just saying
You
that.
say
like,
you say they're good because
How
that's the
often
new
are people
normal, and
getting
that's the
measured for their
relative
T
difference.
levels? I've
But
never
how much
been
more of that
measured
you
for my
can
T
double your
levels.
testosterone
Is that something
naturally
like
by
it's
doing
like
these ancestral
colonoscopies? You
tenets.
need to do it when you get older.
The reason why people bring up the steroid thing is because it's almost like a.
You have? Why?
We hear this
Are
all
you
the time
sick?
that hate always comes from below, and hate always comes from within.
Yeah.
Right? When people really hate their lives, because most people do, they go to jobs that they hate. They come home to lives they don't love. They said,
How deep is his belly button, dude?
Right? And so
How
they
deep
hate
is that
themselves
thing?
so much that they
You
project
could fit
that
money
hate
in that.
above them.
Now, he did have a successful and established business prior.
If he's
to
on all that
blowing up on
testosterone, you
social
reckon he
media,
shaves his
but
chest?
it is impossible to ignore his meteoric rise and the financial success he has experienced on the back of that.
Because if I'm going to create $100 million,
Yeah, he
a
shaves
year
that chest. There's no way you're on
revenue,
testosterone,
and I'm doing
mate,
it
and
by
you're
doing
not
good
shaving
to
your
the human
chest.
condition
Yeah.
versus a company that is selling
And he's
coke
very
or-
orange.
or type 2
He's very
diabetes
orange.
Listen,
or
I'm
strip clubs.
fully behind that.
So this is why value is not created equally. So I'm glad that hey, you support. Hey, let's go make some money if we're doing good in the world, because there should be an exchange of value.
With new Liver King endorsed brands popping up seemingly every few months at this point, new more extravagant luxuries being prominently featured in his content.
I mean,
private
at the
jets,
end of the day,
etc.,
he's already
and
made
very,
his
very
money. Like,
transparent
this
takes
doesn't
on
matter.
yearly
He's just not
revenue
going to have
metrics
as
of
much
companies.
money.
There is
But he's already
clear
made his money.
monetary
It's like how
benefit
it's
to
like when
his social
Ninja
media
left Twitch.
presence
It's like he's
growing
already
in the
set
way
for
it
life,
has.
and then he came back. It's like it doesn't matter if he's getting like 2 viewers. He's set for life. He's already made the money.
He downplays it and portrays his burst onto the social media scene as like this noble act, only cares about his fellow man and, you know, achieving highest quality of life, health, vitality, etc. And it is not fueled by a financial incentive.
Liver King existed way before a year ago, right? I never wanted to go on social media. I never wanted to do a podcast. I never wanted to be like public Liver King. I loved my life. I don't know if you've heard me say this before, but before Liver King on social media, I was rich and anonymous. It's a pretty badass life to live. Go anywhere, do anything. No one's going to distract you. Now, if I get on the lake, on the boats are coming up. Hey, Liver King, Liver King. But in terms of how my other businesses grow, my other businesses grow 50% a year over year. So what kind of impact have I had on these businesses is really marginal.
Where do you invest?
Where I invest is like, we're doing 100 of these companies. And you know why? Because people are hurting and they hate their lives, right? They're suffering and struggling with such depth that they need to hear this message.
He didn't answer the question.
Truth and positivity behind a lot
He
of the
didn't answer the
information that Liver King
question. What
puts out, in my
companies do you
opinion.
invest?
You know,
There
a
was
lot
just
of stuff
something
from a
about
nutritional intake perspective,
positivity.
metabolic health.
That's not a company, mate.
perspective, Relationship building. You know, a lot of the stuff he talks about is stuff that
Is he
I
really
definitely
like
believe
a
is
multi-millionaire?
valuable, motivational, inspiring, and could improve quality of life,
Oh,
health,
it's like- I
vitality,
gotta look
etc.
this up,
Like,
man.
I even eat an ounce of liver per day myself and have for years. However, him portraying the explosion of his polarizing brand as something he, you know, never wanted to do, didn't intend to do for financial reasons at all, is perceived to be deceitful by many.
So here's a Liver King.
You're saying from his.
Yeah, so he's this nice guy. He peddles supplements. He lies. He's probably on the roids. He talks about masculinity, but he walks around with his shirt off. That guy is an asshole. And fucking
Wait, he's an
Dude,
asshole
vintage
because
Liver
he's
King
just a
here.
fraud. He's just a phony.
Vintage.
He's a fraud. Like he's a clown. And like
16.
we all sit there and like in 2022, the day of social media and TikTok, we're all like, oh, the Liver King. Let's put this asshole up on a pedestal.
So his main message is eating clean, living like the caveman did, right? I don't give a fuck if he's on steroids. I don't give a fuck.
But
if he
again,
does
it's
all
just
that.
like, it's the gimmick, dude. It's the fucking gimmick. Like, we live in a world with fucking gimmicks. Just be a normal motherfucker.
Oh,
Put a
that's
shirt
really
on,
shocking. Cauliflower ear, my
shins,
guy. Oh,
fucking gimmicks. Just be
is he a pro fighter? I imagine he's a UFC fighter.
normal motherfucker.
That's fair.
Put a shirt on.
It seems that the push behind the Liver King brand
Yeah, he
from
is, yeah.
inception was a very clearly outlined, premeditated,
Like that's just
and shockingly calculated strategy.
like if you ever need to know what someone does for a living, cauliflower ears will tell you. I didn't notice the interviewer's ears.
Fitness charlatans and snake oil salesmen have come under the microscope with greater scrutiny over the past few years. We've seen many examples of this, and while not long ago, many of them essentially got away with murder and promoting absolute nonsense, misleading, disingenuous things, some stuff that is just a straight up ripoff entirely, or even potentially dangerous misinformation. I feel like we've all come a long way in educating ourselves about how to identify misleading marketing, disingenuous individuals, and avoiding them entirely. My friend Zach Tellender, who helped bring this video to life actually too, has exposed a lot of this behavior over the years in the fitness industry on his channel. And before we get into the nitty gritty, it feels fitting to have Zach give a preface about how all of this came to be.
A charlatan is, by definition, a person who makes elaborate, fraudulent, and often valuable claims to skill or knowledge. A fraud. I happen to like bits and pieces from many different definitions of a charlatan. A person who pretends to have expert knowledge or skill that he or she does not actually have, or a malicious trickster, a fake person, especially
Fake
one
person,
who
that's very
deceives
descriptive.
for personal profit. In the fitness industry and social media as a whole, charlatans run amok, and they're making more money and gaining more fame than ever before. But what's important to distinguish here is the separation between valuable influence and being a charlatan. So with regards to the definitions I had listed prior, we have three key components: knowledge, skill, and profit. Knowledge in terms of charlatanism.
Where's he
better
getting
be
these
defined
definitions from,
by
though?
Sacred knowledge, meaning knowledge that is unique to the charlatan themselves. This is what no one but the charlatan knows, and he or she is the savior for bringing it to you, the consumer. Now, you may be thinking, I learn things from fitness people, good fitness people, all the time. Are they charlatans? And the simple answer is no, because the bests of the industry tell you things that aren't sacred, new, and amazing. They deliver information with a level of nuance. They usually understand that there are most likely no absolutes. They bring anecdotes or their own
Oh god, I thought it was Tyler 1 then.
on the matter to you with respect to
Oh, it's
science.
Tyler 1.
They do all of this while consistently disclaiming that they don't have the answers to exactly what it is you should be doing. They guide you down the sturdy and trusted path while encouraging you to make your own way in this world. The charlatan cannot do this. This is because they are providing you with clear-cut, absolute answers. They don't want to empower you. They want to keep you passive and force you to consume. Now, there is nothing wrong with selling. There is, however, something wrong with using tactics with a distinct in-group and out-group mentality. The
Is there
charlatan's
anybody who's like
ideas
done
cannot
the Liver
exist
King
with other
diet,
ideas
essentially,
present. They
lifestyle,
must
and
be
just
on
like
the attack
made a video of
other
it and shown it
ideas
over like a
because they
period of a year?
interfere with their
That would be
delivering
interesting to
of
see.
This absolute sacred knowledge. For instance, Joel Seedman cannot concede to large ranges of motion because he's so bought into the 90-degree joint angles with endless claims about their superiority and the inferiority of anything else that he has to be the only correct one. Another example would be the GOTA guys. They cannot concede to possibly saying that typical compound movement training can serve any benefit at all, because it directly contradicts their convoluted idea of
Having an all-meat
reverse
diet,
movement technology.
I mean, but that
Whatever
was for a
means.
different reason, though.
Next, we have skill, and
That
this
was
is
for a
what
different medical
empowers
condition.
the
Like, that was for an
charlatan
actual medical
and
condition.
their followers. The skill is the determinable action that solidifies their position
Autoimmune, yeah.
against the outgroup. We do this, they do that. We are good, they are bad. What we do is difficult to describe, but with our convoluted vocabulary and our distinctly individual practice, it will change us and solidify our position above.
I mean,
the
diet
outgroup.
plays a big part of mental
Finally,
health, just as a
and
general
probably
thing.
most
If you
importantly,
eat
we
like
have
crap all the
profit
time,
and
you're
fame.
going to feel like crap.
This is the end goal for the charlatan.
This is just a fact.
Using their sacred knowledge,
Like people that
convoluted
get
language,
depressed
and unique
often
but
develop eating
transferable
disorders, whether it's
skill,
one way or the other.
They can now convert on those
Eating too much or
sweet,
eating
sweet
too little.
algo gains.
But the problem is they
And
continue
again,
that pattern, and
there
they
is nothing
mentally
wrong
they
with
get worse,
selling,
and it's just a
just
vicious
that
cycle
selling
that keeps
off the
getting. So
backs of
what you eat goes hand in hand. It's the same with
previous
regular
listed
exercise as
tactics I'm
well.
talking
If you don't
about,
exercise at least
that's what I'm
semi-regularly,
really honing
your
in
mental
on.
health is going to
Buy
deteriorate.
my program,
It's all
book,
it's all
equipment,
intertwined.
or supplement
all
that fits
intertwined.
my absolute narrative and be a part of the in-group. I will grow this in-group while I remain the centerpiece. I will revel in the fame and the money. I am
Money, 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 money,
the
money,
Liver
money,
King.
money.
Yes, the centerpiece of our video today is no different. He
It's all good, Gamma.
directly and obviously follows the charlatan playbook. He uses his sacred knowledge of the 9 ancestral tenets and his body as the main selling point. He uses
Add
terms
money?
like
Maybe.
primals and
Maybe we run an ad. I'll see.
subprimals to determine the in-group and out-group. Now, once the charlatan is questioned, it's important that they give way to their absolute statements. So most of the time, they don't give way at all, but when they're pushed by someone who might have a big influence, it's okay if they start to contradict what they're really all about. If they can appeal to the critical audience with what we'll call the undeniable argument fallacy,
Does he even wear a
they
shirt?
can potentially mitigate any fallout from contradicting themselves.
Dude, I want to try an ice
The
bath.
Liver King can
Ice
fall
bath,
back on the
low-key.
fact that
I just want to know what it's
these
like.
9 ancestral tenets, for the most part, aren't very sexy. Like, yeah, we should sleep more. We should eat better. We
It's
should
cold.
have
I
a
imagine
lot of
so. I imagine it's
better
ice cold.
habits, and a lot of which are part of the 9 ancestral tenets. But again, this is nothing new. This is nothing that's going to sell. What he has to hone in on is selling and using the charlatan playbook to do so.
And people are suffering today with depression, with anxiety, with autoimmune conditions.
This is what I don't
with
like.
Infertility.
He's
right? They got low energy.
This
they got low
is the big
libido.
problem I have. Is he's preaching a surefire way to fix all these things, and then he's not even doing them. And it turns out in these emails like he has mental health problems and
So
stuff.
they got low ambition in life. What
Bruh,
I'm proposing, my
that's
thesis is
disgusting.
that there's a simple, elegant solution.
That's disgusting. It's
to
one thing
living
to
a
lie,
goddamn
but it's one
kick-ass
thing
fucking
to
life,
lie about
right? So this is my
information that
job
could
as a CEO of the
ultimately
Ancestral
affect
Lifestyle,
someone's life.
to model, teach, and preach this message so that our people don't have to suffer, so that we can return to our highest and our most dominant form. So you say, what if you don't want to be like that? Well, 80% of people's lives
There you
fucking
go. Ads
suck
ran.
already.
So in this way, he appears to be the hero we all need. But if these are not very sexy ideas, then what will fuel the growth of his brand? Well, specifically for him, and following the charlatan playbook, eating a ridiculous amount of raw organs and flaunting his body that he staunchly defends
look
as
something up.
natural,
I gotta look
or
something up.
only enhanced by his lifestyle and not any exogenous hormones. In my opinion, this is not heroic. Pacifying the audience with charades in order to get your message across, rather than just delivering it to them straight up, is not virtuous.
Joe Rogan made a
Raw meat may contain harmful bacteria, including Salmonella, Listeria, whatever that word is, something about a lobster, and E. coli. That one I do know. That can cause food poisoning. The bacteria are destroyed when meat is cooked correctly. So is raw meat good for you?
Interesting statement on his show. Him and somebody else were talking about.
Where's the
you
guy
and,
with the abs? He's Liver King. It
I think
came
the
out
other
that
guy
he
was saying that
he's
he was
preached
liver and that you
for
need
his
to
whole
use
career, his
ancestral
whole
tenants.
like internet
Joe
celebrity,
Rogan said
that
something
he's
to the effect
never taken
of,
drugs
I don't
before,
think he's doing any of that
and it
good
turns
stuff.
out he's on a
Steroids,
lot
that
of
guy.
drugs.
Joe Rogan's also usually pretty high on his show. Like, what do you think of that comment?
It can be
First
quite
of all, I
humble.
just wanna say
Yeah,
I
but
think
like
he's incredible.
you see
I
these
think
people that
that,
claim to eat nothing but raw meat.
couldn't
Like
be
there was a
more
guy
grateful
on
that he's
TLC eating raw meat, and he was
Joe
like
Rogan
fine. Like
said, "This
maybe
guy."
you develop your own
you know that in
immune
and of
system. What
itself.
type of
I
drug?
know you
Steroids,
love the
essentially.
Liver Queen. Again,
Testosterone.
this guy,
But, like,
this guy that I hold
I
in the
imagine like once
absolute
you, if you
highest
keep
regard,
eating raw meat,
irrespective of
you
the
build
lies
up a
he's taking
tolerance
in,
to it,
look at how
right?
healthy I am. You know, look at how
sort
many
of, maybe
people
that's how that
have
works.
never heard of me. How,
But
have now
in
heard
the
of
other
me.
hand, it's like you don't see many people in their 80s eating
you know,
raw
one of the
meat every
greatest
day.
feelings.
You
I
don't see
also
many
just do
many
wanna say, I think
80-year-olds
that
eating raw
him
meat.
saying that is dangerous.
So I don't know.
You know, I want to set
I
the
don't
record
think it's
straight.
good for
I
you.
would
It
love
can't
the
be, right?
opportunity to talk
There's a
to him
reason why
face to
we
face,
evolved to cook
really
things.
Get deep into the 9 ancestral tenets. What I'll share back with you, and I'm just gonna head it, face it head on. I don't touch this stuff.
Dude,
I've
low
never
key,
done
those
this stuff.
chairs
I'm not gonna
so
do this
uncomfortable.
stuff.
What stuff?
The ass full of steroids that he talks about.
You've never taken steroids.
Never taken steroids. I've never done PEDs other than prioritize, execute, and dominate in life.
Yeah, the Liver King thing drives me nuts because that guy's on steroids.
Well,
just shut the fuck up.
well, so
Just- I know he's eating.
He might not have them public.
It's clear he's eating all
You have
these
to. There's a
animal
there's a
foods
setting. I don't know
you know,
where
he's eating
exactly it
organ
is,
meat, which is
but there's
very
a
rich in
setting for your
nutrients.
Twitch
No,
settings
that's
to
true,
make
but he's
VODs
dodging
public.
the main bullet.
Well, it's too late for him now because he said no.
Yeah.
So if he is even on TRT, he should come out and just say it.
Well, look at him.
Because I mean,
Just do you know how rare it is to have a physique like that and not be on steroids?
He doesn't worry about the fallout from two very reputable sources calling him an outright liar. Rather, he's thankful for more eyes on him. Now, he'll say this is because he's promoting his message, but for the charlatans, it's all about money and fame.
Brian Johnson is a 44-year-old serial entrepreneur and the man behind the brand Liver King. He strives to change the lives of millions through the promotion of his 9 ancestral tenets. Regardless if it's slamming 50 fertilized raw eggs on his social media to go viral,
Dude,
or
raw
putting a
eggs
sled with
aren't hard
kettlebells
to eat.
in
It's just
hand
because
in
of their
front
texture. It makes you
various
chuck.
famous locations in the world.
Like
while
you
he's
don't even
traveling
taste
around
it when you're
planet,
eating it.
or
It's just the
bringing
texture
blood
is
and
like really
testicles
gooey,
onto a
and that's what
podcast
makes
that
you
he's
throw
a
up.
guest on, having the host eat it with him on camera. Liver King has mastered the intertwinement of virality and the message he's trying to actually push, and he has adapted to
It's
be
that shock
uncomfortable on
value that he's
camera
eating this stuff raw.
wildly
That's
quickly.
that's
It
why
is
people are
extremely
clicking on
impressive
it.
to see this guy
The same
not
reason why
break
people click on
character
Andrew
in front
Tate.
of
It's
the
the shock
camera,
value
put
of what he's
himself
saying.
in
It's entertaining.
wildly awkward situations and not flinch, not seem nervous, not seem awkward, and scream at the top of his lungs about Liver King type
Shaves
stuff.
his
Over
whole
time,
upper body.
He has also become more and more outspoken about the brands he endorses as well. He is the owner of several businesses that sell dietary supplements aimed at those who want to get in shape, live with as much vitality and vigor as him, and his companies are essentially all centered around this ancestral living and the 9 core ancestral tenets.
Is I take the raw glandulars, we freeze dry them, we put them in capsules, and we make it so easy they can't say no. we lowered the barrier of entry, which is a big thing that you do, right?
Absolutely.
We've lowered it so low that it's accessible to everybody. And once you try it,
What's the
almost
white stuff in
everybody
his hair?
sees the value in it. And so the repeat customers are over 80%. And so this is where we started, and I just started with liver, and then the anecdotes just poured in. And so then we expanded to all the organs: heart, pancreas, spleen, kidney, bone marrow, brain, thymus. you name
Bone
it.
marrow.
And so there was such a demand. It's
Bone
just a
marrow is
true
not good for
demand
you, is
creation
it?
Model, and people said more. And so we've just taken off, not just with ancestral supplements, but now there's Heart and Soil, there's Medicine Man Plant Co., there's The Fittest, there's Strong Jaw. There's quite a bit of these supplement companies that we've launched into different categories, but it's all based on ancestral living.
On a typical day, you will see him doing some sort of workout, posting some inspirational messages.
He works
to
out
encourage
twice a
taking
day,
action,
except for like
showing his
Sundays.
meals on camera, endorsing an array of freeze-dried organ supplements, protein shakes, and meal replacement bars. While there's nothing inherently wrong with that whatsoever, endorsing dietary supplements, it's the way he uses the viral Liver King brand to promote it that is perceived by many to be unethical.
If you want to be a top king, if you want unlimited access to cars, money, and if you want to find your queen, then you have to fuel your efforts with ancestral supplements, liver, beef organs, and bone marrow with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because liver is king. And you already know, with breakfast, lunch, and dinner, always gonna have a whole feast protein shake.
In several interviews, Brian
The
Johnson
dude's
has
like the
stated that
Burger
his
King guy.
overarching goal is to show everyone how much they can improve their lives by following in his footsteps, and that these supplements he sells are just a happenstance business that supports his message, essentially.
So basically, you see all of these problems in the world, and you want to try to solve them using.
I wonder how
the
much money
tenets
he's given to
that you
charity
have.
to
And
help fix
one way
these
you
problems.
can get people to obey the tenets is by your different businesses, such as the.
I wonder how
supplements,
much
such as
world
spreading
work
the
he's done in
message
third
through
world
Liver
countries
King,
to help them.
which also is, I'm sure, a great marketer towards all of these other businesses that you also
Be
have.
positive.
And that's-
Hey man, if you're not eating
Right.
liver, you
And that's
ain't living.
basically The whole summary of the entire Liver King brand.
Yeah, I wonder how
and
much work
motivation.
Liver King's done in third world countries that have
When
next to
he's
no
asked
food.
how much
I wonder if
his
he's giving
business
them
have
liver.
grown as a result of the
I'm sure
Liver
that'll
King
help.
brand growing exponentially, his reply is hardly at all.
I'm curious how all your businesses were doing before Liver King, and then once Liver King, as far as like the social media presence, and then with Liver King growing, how that has affected all of your businesses.
You know, it's wild. Hardly at all. Hardly at all. But in terms of how my other businesses grow, my other businesses grow 50% a year over year. So what kind of impact have I had on these businesses is really marginal.
While many may believe that, those who understand the impact extremely viral social media content can have on site traffic,
I don't know if
conversion
human
potential,
livers are
etc.,
actually as
know
good as
how
animal livers. I
absolutely
keep the
absurd of a
stack.
statement this is, like with hyped up supply chain
Should
costs,
should
private
ask
jet trips around
Jeffrey
the world,
Dahmer.
private chefs, expanding staffing needs, a full-blown social media team.
Dude,
that
I've
follows
never
him
seen this
around,
guy in a shirt.
simultaneous, disproportionately quick expansion of all of his existing brands that require more capital to continue to fuel their expansion, and the emergence of new brands popping up all the time under his wing that have startup costs as well associated with them. You know, the corporate accounting fees associated with it, this, that.
I mean,
it is clear
yeah.
that the revenue to support all of this has significantly increased
Barbecue
since he started
ribs?
his social media push. How fast it has all happened is pretty fucking wild.
I mean, I
when you
imagine
think about it, and
these
there's
guys
no
are
doubt in
eating
my
the meat
mind that
raw.
the
Like Jeffrey
valuation
Dahmer's
of
eating
his
it raw as
business
well. So it's like I
portfolio
imagine
cumulatively has
if you, I imagine it's like
disproportionately skyrocketed
vegetables,
since
where
he
if
started
you
posting in August
peel the skin
2021.
off a
While
potato, or
benign
when you
ancestral
cook a
tenets in
potato, it
general
loses
can
a
be
lot of
applicable to
its
anyone, Liver King
vitamins. It
clearly
has to be the
targets
same
men
thing.
of
Human,
big
non-human,
content.
animal,
Because
doesn't
if you
matter.
have your cell phone next to your dick and balls, if you're not shielding right, do you think you're optimizing your testosterone?
I know I said this earlier, but
Wait,
I'm
what
gonna
did he
it
just
again.
say about my
The
balls?
ancestral man-
You're optimizing your because if you have your cell phone next to your dick and balls, if you're not shielding right, do you think you're optimizing your testosterone?
Did he just claim that your phone is lowering your testosterone? What sort of Alex Jones crap is that? That's something Alex Jones would say about like 5G towers and stuff. Hey man, I'm never putting my phone next to my balls
I know
again.
I said
It's
this
not
earlier, but I'm
happening.
going to say it again. The ancestral man has a much more favorable hormone profile than the modern day manicured man.
Liver King claims he has never used steroids or any performance-enhancing drugs to achieve his physique, and this is ultimately what gets him the most scrutiny.
How tall is he?
But is also one of the reasons he's so viral. If he didn't throw it in people's faces as much as he does, he probably wouldn't get the heat that he does, but he often pokes fun at
Yeah,
those.
no, when cellular devices first came out, we're talking like you have to pull out the antenna and everything like that. People thought that the radiation would give you brain cancer behind the ear. And then for some reason, there was like a small influx of like brain cancer next to the release of cellular devices, which was really odd. But it's just like we use radiation for X-rays and nobody's complaining. You know?
Liver King here. A bunch of primals keep asking if Liver King is natty or not.
I need to know how tall Liver King is. Hold on.
And show you my stack. I stack liver and bone marrow every day. I stack the sun and the earth every day. I stack blood-burning workouts.
He's
twice a day,
5'7" I'm taller than this
and
dude.
if you stack the
I'm taller than this guy.
tenets, you too can express your most dominant form. And by the way, this was my cameraman idea, so tip of the hat to him. I don't even know where to get this stuff, but I will tell you this. This is filled with maple syrup. There's nothing better than that. Liver King out. It is time to put the rumors to rest. I just got my
Yeah, they
number
did say the
one.
same thing about microwaves as
Doc is on
well.
his way to give me the results.
I think it's just because microwaves use a form of radiation, and everybody's scared of radiation.
Don't tell him, Doc. Okay. We did find something unusual.
I like how Liver King had all these what are they called? Injector things, needles just lying around for this video.
Is Liver King natty? That's what he said.
Yeah.
I think he was like TikTok age. They say natty.
Yeah, well, first thing I'm now you're giving me a sidetrack, but I'll say this. Do you think if I was on steroids, I would have these fucking appendages down here, these legs?
Have
Do you
legs?
see how fucking little my fucking legs are? You know?
They're pretty.
Oh, pretty big? Okay, well, let me fucking go on here. Here's the thing. When I was in college, I weighed 175 pounds and I was single digit body fat. I started working out about 8 or 9 years old. I had already been working out for, 10 or 12 years. So now I'm 45 and I've gained less than 1 pound a year over 25 years. Less than 1 pound a year. So this is what I say to people that make this accusation.
How is that evidence?
If you don't believe
That's not
this is
evidence.
possible, then I suggest that you take that self-limiting belief, you put that shit in a fucking box, and you bury that next to all your embarrassing shit.
It's not evidence.
And don't open your
45-year-old
fucking mouth
boomer.
about it.
Yeah.
Let that
I've
live
seen a lot of people saying that like he
doubling
doesn't actually look 45,
down,
and that's because
quadrupling down,
because
like
his
this
skin
guy
is so
does not
stretched because
really
of muscle
have an off switch
that he
when it
hasn't been
comes
able to
leaning
develop
into
wrinkles.
this. It irritates
It's
a lot
literally
of people
why.
because he does not produce any evidence to the contrary, and he also doesn't get blood work apparently to track his health because he's so confident in his ancestral lifestyle that he believes it to be essentially unnecessary.
Are there?
You reckon he took the COVID
actual
vaccine?
Hard.
You reckon he's had COVID?
Medical downfalls or shortcomings to this diet, higher cholesterol. Are there things that you have to actively do to combat those?
Yeah, this is all rubbish, right? Like the whole
The
cholesterol
idea of
thing.
tracking cholesterol?
All of this stuff is fucking hilarious. You could make that face if you want.
Well,
but
no.
Let me tell you what cholesterol
But that's
is.
because that kind of shits on the face
Cholesterol-
of.
Sure, yeah, of course it does. But you stand in line, right? You buy that vegetables are healthy. You buy that you should be wearing a shirt, right? You buy that you should refer to yourself in the first person. I was
gonna ask
right?
you this.
You buy that cholesterol has something to do with heart.
Dude, this guy looks like Daniel Radcliffe
Cholesterol is a proxy
with a
to something you
beard.
don't fucking understand. If you want to know about heart disease, you need to know about your HSCRP, your inflammation. What does your insulin look like? What are your triglycerides? What the fuck is your blood pressure? More people die of heart attacks with normal goddamn fucking cholesterol.
For someone who's not taking drugs and doesn't get their stuff monitored, he knows an awful lot about it.
Right? So this cracks me up when people are like, let me look at your cholesterol. Right? It's how the fuck do you feel? Right? If you got a fucking kicking ass libido and you're kicking ass in fucking life, you give a fuck what your cholesterol is? I don't do any blood testing. I don't know what my cholesterol is.
I might know what his cholesterol is.
Ooh, here we go. This is the juice. This is the meat.
At the
This
start
is
of
the
video,
meat
I
and
mentioned how there was
potatoes.
some information that came across my desk that was shocking, to say the least. This set of redacted emails shows what appears to be Liver King corresponding with a bodybuilding coach. So I was shocked, but also kind of not shocked at the same time. Like I felt like it was just a matter of time before something like this came out in some capacity, but obviously, it was still surprising to see the name on the piece of paper and just the detail that he went into in these emails. So let's get into it. And as far as I know, the redactions included like personal information that was
Jackass.
irrelevant to PEDs. and blood test results. It was just like payment information, phone numbers, personal information, etc. And we'll get into the blood work after. I just want to go through all the emails fully before we open the blood test results, because it gives a lot of context that then makes sense of the blood work thereafter. So this is the first email, June 29th, 2021, which is notable that this is actually almost 2 months before he started posting as Liver King on social media. And yet
He's got his own mailing account, like
seemingly
Ancestral's. I
filled
thought
out
it had
his
to be like
contact
Gmail or
form,
something.
identifying himself as Brian Johnson Liver King in brackets with an official email, liverking@ancestralsupplements.com.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
got an
his
official
very
email,
much
that's what I
his
mean.
brand domain that he is emailing through, and his official email address, presumably from his company.
He's
email
45. I
address.
don't expect him to have like
No
multiple
attempt
email
at
accounts
trying
that he can
to
just
claim
ding
natural
dong
or
ditch.
anything, like very, very transparent in this email about what he needs to get out of this, what his goals are over the next year, and also identifying himself literally as like he was on a contact form, presumably of some website, to contact this guy, and wrote Brian Johnson, and in brackets, like literally identified himself as Liver King. So super interesting stuff. And
I mean,
really
45 is too
insightful
old for
as
what
to
I think is more
went
important.
into the strategy behind this whole brand from inception, because this is pre-social media push, keep in mind. So stoked, thank you. What's a good date and time for you to have our consultation? I live
I
in
mean,
the
the average
Republic
life
of Texas,
expectancy for a
Houston.
male in
So I
Australia
am
is like
CST,
72,
but
so it's like
12
over
hours behind you.
half.
This is an absolute priority for me, so I will cancel almost anything planned to make this happen with you. My preferred times are 7 a.m., 8 a.m., or 9 a.m. on Wednesday CST, but could easily do 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. almost any evening. And your time, I believe that's 7 p.m., 8 p.m., or 9 p.m. on Thursday, or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. almost any morning of the week. Please check my math on that. Since that's outside of your regular hours, I'm happy to compensate for the trouble. So let's dig right in. As it relates to my goals, I'm the face of several brands, including Ancestral Supplements, which is the handle he used here from his official company email. And I've just hired a team to build the Liver King brand with the goal of 1 million followers by March 2022.
It's probably
That's
80 something for women.
Wildly specific, and I believe he actually did it before
Maybe it's gone
that
up
date,
since last
which
time.
is crazy because he had
Lifetime.
0 followers in June of 2021. So within less than a year, he knew he was going to get 1 million followers all around this brand with the intention of blowing it up from day one. I'm pouring ridiculous resources into making this happen, including hosting a video guy that
Only
will
give
be
me
living at my guest
average
house, and
for
a film crew that
everybody.
will be filming 7 days a month. Stated I have
There we
to
go.
stay in great fucking shape year round. Maybe take 1 to 2 months
The
off per year. When
74,
he says off per year, like,
and like that's
he's very much
80.
implying hormone use.
There you go.
Here's a clip of where I'm at currently. So this is a link to an Instagram post. Ancestral Supplements, May 8th, 2021. The keys to living an optimal life. And Brian the Liver King Johnson. Okay, so he was identifying himself as a Liver King for a while, but this is before his actual Liver King social media was created. And he looks pretty yoked here. Like, he looks sick still. Presumably, that is mainly what this, coaching was really about, was to get as saucy as fucking hell, essentially, within reason of not killing yourself and pushing your brand in as viral of a way as possible. I've been working out for 35 years. I know how to train, eat, rest, and recover. I even have a hard shell hyperbaric chamber at my house. But as I've reached my mid-40s,
Hyperbolic
it's
time
getting harder, and
chamber?
the back
What?
fat fucking kills me. To support these exhaustive efforts, I've recently started taking Omnitrope. So if you guys don't know Omnitrope, this is pharmacy-grade human growth hormone. The brand, it is created by the pharmaceutical company Sandoz, I believe it is. The 5.8 milligram vials from Empower Pharmacy, $11,000 per month for my new dose, which is 4 vials per week, 16 vials per month. So these 5.8 milligram vials, he's using 4 vials per week, 16 vials per month. What is that in international units? Most of you guys are probably more familiar with HGH dosages in international units.
Oh, yeah,
In
100%
general,
understand.
For somatropin, recombinant, HGH, 1 milligram equals 3 international units. So for each 5.8 milligram vial of Omnitrope, that has the equivalent of
Dumb it down for me, Doc. Is it a lot?
IU somatropin. So he mentioned 4 vials per week, 16 vials a month. I believe he mentioned in his email here, 16 vials a month. So that is going to be roughly 69.6 international units of recombinant human growth hormone per week, which is roughly 10 international units per day, which is like a fucking really, really high, super expensive dosage that, to be honest, I know bodybuilders who compete at the Open Mr. Olympia who use less pharma grade GH than that.
So
Like,
he's not only
that's how high
juicing,
of a
he's
dose that
real
actually is.
juiced.
So he says,
He's
I don't
super
know if this
juiced.
shit is grossly underdosed or what, but I've been taking 2 vials per week and my IGF is only at 139. See recent labs below. My doctor told me that I could double it in an effort to get to the upper 200s, low 300s. She thinks I could be a hyper
Stream
non-responder.
every day
I'm
for as long
wondering
as
if taking a
possible.
fuckload
That's
of
pretty
other
much the way to
peptides
do
could
it.
be confounding the results and possibly interfering with the efficacy. For instance, here's what I'm currently taking. So here's this stack, IGF-1 LR3, presumably. Been taking this for a year. CJC with IMAP, been taking this for a year. So here, I'm assuming he's talking about CJC 1295.
Whatever you
drug
enjoy.
Affinity complex, like there is a difference.
You have to enjoy
between-
it.
there's
Like, you
Mod
can't stream for
GRF,
hours on end if you don't
1-29,
enjoy what you're
which is, like,
streaming.
shorter acting. We'll get
It's too
into it later
difficult.
as far as like what GHRPs are, GHRHs, etc. But this is like a peptide combination, CJC 1295 with DAC. I'm assuming he's talking about with ipamorelin. I'm assuming, not IMAP. I'm sure he's just hastily writing this, hence why there's like missing shit. But CJC with IPAM is a very, very common combination. Been taking this for a year. Ibutamoren, also known as MK677, orally active GH secretagogue and ghrelin receptor agonist. Been taking this for 2
What are the
months.
steroids that you need to
Omnitrope,
put into your penis hole? What are those steroids called? I know that's a thing.
Human growth hormone pharmagrade, been taking this for 6 weeks. Testosterone cypionate, 0.6 cc per week, cruise dose. So that, presumably would be 120 milligrams per week if you do 0.6 times 1 with a 200 milligram per milliliter concentration. 120 milligrams per week of test sip is not that high. Deca, nandrolone decanoate, 0.6 cc per week. Been taking this for 3 weeks, so 3 weeks of 120.
So a lot of
milligrams
the
per
drugs
week.
he's taking are
Pharmagrade, of
pretty
course.
recent.
Winstrol, 50 milligrams a day.
I imagine that
Just started
ties
this,
in
been
with
taking
the
this for 3
time he
weeks,
started
and
getting
it's
really
all
popular
presumably
as well.
Pharmagrade through the pharmacy mentioned and having a legitimate prescription. I know it to be the case that all of these are prescribable, even Winstrol, which sounds fucking baffling. And does it actually have like a clinical application that makes sense? Very rarely, but presumably he has a
The
script
penis
for
hole
it.
is the pee
I'm
is the
doubting he's
penis that
using
is the
UGL
penis hole
Winstrol
that you
just
pee out of.
randomly
Okay.
as his choice of compound.
There is only one hole in the
There
penis.
are fewer compounds to choose from, like you're not gonna get trenbolone through a fucking pharmacy, but Winstrol, one of the available orals that presumably he arrived on as the one to add in. So anyways, he is on all this stuff. My blood sugar every morning, it's around 74, and insulin are great because I'm metabolically fit as fuck. Or so I think, ... Some doctors think my insulin is too low, but I think it's because I'm very insulin sensitive because I work out like a fucking maniac. I train twice a day.
He
6 days a
emails
week,
like
and
he
walk 10 to
talks.
12 miles on my rest day. Can you help me dial in the PED and growth hormone protocol to maximize results? You will see that my healthy labs back on May 12th look pretty good, except IGF-1 and GH are always non-existent. My recent labs show some serious concerns, probably the Winstrol, but we're discontinuing that in 2 weeks anyways. SHBG, lipids, estradiol are all fucked, but aside from my joints, I feel pretty good. I'm 5'7".
Yeah, I know. I don't
lean,
get blood
42
work.
years old,
Yeah, he
would like your
does.
coaching for the next 12 months and happy to pay in advance. Let's go. And a bunch of redactions of a bunch of personal information.
I
And then
like the
his
fact that
signature,
stuff is
Brian
rejected.
Johnson, Liver King, owner, Ancestral Supplements. We believe in the ways of our ancestors. We are descendants of the sole surviving species, blah, blah, blah. So look like pretty fucking legit. Seems like the man himself. So let's get
Can he
into the
even name a
next
single
email,
one of his
and We'll wrap
ancestors?
this up and then get into the blood work. All right, next email, July 18th, 2021. My new IGF-1 and GH results are in. Thank God I'm finally in the normal range. Having said that, I want to get my IGF-1 to 300. As a reminder, I've been taking 4 vials of Omnitrope, 5.8 milligrams per week. So 69.4 international units per week, whatever that was. So roughly 10 IU per day of pharma-grade GH. Should I pay an extra $5,000 per month? That's $15,000 per month in total, or try one of your sources to get better shit. Now we can see here, IGF-1 using high sensitivity testing, 204 nanograms per milliliter. Longitudinal data points here that show a trend upwards from May to mid-July. Keeping in mind the dosage he's using, his IGF-1 should be way higher. Like this is very, very odd to say the least, and is presumably, like this is why he's wondering, should he be trying different shit? Why is it so low? What's going on? Does he have a unique issue? What's going on? Which we'll get into liver health later, downstream IGF-1 conversion, inflammatory states, his blood work, etc. And there's more data points too for the IGF-1, but this is where he's at from, he's been trying to get it up for a while with peptides to increase his endogenous levels. He used literal IGF-1 LR3 to try and stimulate receptor activity through that vector by bypassing the entire GH-IGF-1 axis itself, using exogenous GH and trying to just shove it at the fucking liver to get as much conversion as possible, using a higher dose than most bodybuilders I know can even afford, to be honest. Yeah, let's get into the next email. July 19th, 2021, questionnaire. What up, coach? I hope your MRI went well. I bet it did. See my answers below in red. Front and back pictures of what you look like right now. 4 quarter turns and the 7 mandatory bodybuilding poses if possible. This way we have a starting point and can decide where to improve and how you hold your body fat. Also send me pictures of the best shape and condition you've had in the past. 4 quarter turns and the 7 mandatory bodybuilding poses if you have them. That way we have a clear goal and see where we can improve on your previous shape. Liver King's response: I have no idea what these poses are. I'm sure that I could Google them, but it would take too much effort right now and I want to get this done within 30 minutes. I don't store body fat anywhere except the love handles / back fat. I need serious help with this. What is your daily schedule? What time do you wake up? How many meals until you work out? And how many after? Let me know which hours of the day you're occupied. And
I
what
struggle
time
to
you
think
eat
that
and
he
train.
didn't
How do
know
you
what
structure
those
your weekend?
poses
What
are.
kind of
I
things
think
do
he
you
was
like
just
to do
lazy.
socially? Movies, eating out, bowling, walking in the park, etc. So this is pretty interesting. Wake up at 6 a.m., work out at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. I always train fasted. If I'm not going to my ranch, I don't leave my compound. I live on 15 acres on the lake and have everyone come to me. My ranch is 500 acres of paradise. I don't go out to eat. I don't go bowling. I don't go to the movies. This is my routine. 6 a.m., wake up, walk to the lake barefoot, sun gaze, and have morning coffee. Review the books for my companies. 7 a.m. workout number 1. I follow Westside Conjugate and customize the program as needed. I take the first dose of Omnitrope right before this workout. 9 a.m. eat meal 1. 45-gram protein shake with cold mineral water, 60 grams dextrose, 100 grams whole Greek yogurt, 30 grams maple syrup, 4 farm fresh eggs, 5 grams creatine, 10 grams collagen.
How does
30
he
grams
store all
almond butter,
this?
20 grams ghee, 5 grams red bean salt, 2 ounces of red meat.
He has-
It's kind of
he must have, like,
interesting because I
multiple
wonder-
fridges.
Some of the stuff I've never seen him have, like 60 grams of dextrose powder. Never seen that before. Him supplementing
Dextrose powder,
creatine
what
is
is
really
that?
interesting, given how much red meat he eats. 10 grams of collagen powder, presumably. Interesting stuff.
Oh, it's a sugar supplement,
9:15
okay.
to 1 p.m. meetings and phone calls.
And he
with the
basically
occasional
has
nap
energy
from 12
drinks.
to
That's what the
1.
creatine
1:30
is.
PM, workout
So he
number
just
2.
has a-
This is Olympic lifting, skills and met
an
class.
energy
I
drink,
take the
essentially.
second dose of Omnitrope right before this workout.
What's your
2:30
favorite
PM,
joke?
eat meal
Probably this
2,
channel.
45-gram protein shake with cold mineral water, 60 grams of dextrose again, 100 grams whole Greek yogurt, 60 grams maple syrup, 4 farm fresh eggs, 5 grams creatine, 10 grams collagen, 30 grams almond butter, 20 grams ghee, 5 grams red bean salt, 2 to 4 ounces of raw liver, 30 grams of raw bone marrow. 3 to 4:30, meetings and phone calls. 4:30, eat meal number 3, 12 ounce of full fat red meat. For example, ribeye, ground wagyu, or short
What the hell
ribs,
is
and 100
wagyu?
to
Is that a
200 gram
fish?
sweet potatoes. 5:30 to 6:30, phone calls, emails, meetings. 6:30 to 7, walking with wife. 7 to 7:30,
Beef.
emails. 7:30
Japanese
to
beef,
8:30, spend
okay.
time with the boys. Usually go to the theater room to watch a Marvel movie or play games. 8:30 p.m., I take the third dose of Omnitrope. Wait 30, and by the way, like each dose he's taking essentially is 3.33 international units, presumably, per shot. Wait 30 minutes after the Omnitrope, have a 30-gram protein shake and 2 ounces of red meat and get ready for bed. 9 p.m., bedtime. How many hours of sleep do you get every day? My sleep is not great. I go to sleep no problem, but wake up a lot from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. This is why I stay in bed.
That's very
9 to
common
10
when you
hours a
get
night so
older,
that I can
to wake
usually
up
get
a
around
lot
8 hours of
and wake
legit
up early.
sleep. So this is really interesting to me because the guy, you know, preaches sleep hygiene, dialed in sleep, and you would think is like the, you know, representation of pinnacle of lifestyle behavior.
He might not be having the best sleep, but he's still getting a lot of stuff done, I will say.
Perfectly dialed in, but yet he is waking up a lot, 2 to 6 a.m., having issues sleeping. He stays in bed 10 hours a night to get 8 hours of legit sleep.
That's
And we'll
not
get into
bad.
the
I don't
hard work
consider
later
that
why
that
I
bad.
think that
I've
to
had
be
worse, man.
Partially the case. Who knows if it's from lying on fucking wooden floor or whatever. But anyways, current body weight and body fat percentage. If you can do a test like the InBody machine, otherwise we can always go by pictures. 200 pounds, I'd guess my body fat is around 10%. Do you feel you had stubborn fat areas that didn't go away? If so, what areas? Yes, all caps. Back fat, love handles, nowhere else. Do you start to hold water during the day after a few meals with carbs and or about 1 hour after training, look leaner in the morning, leaner but puffy face, or look pretty flat in the morning and look better after a few meals? I pretty much look the same. which diet or foods you're currently eating, which foods you don't like, and do you have any food allergies? What food do you feel you respond good to bodybuilding wise, and which do you find hard to digest that are usually used by bodybuilders? I fucking love my foods. I pretty much eat keto carnivore unless I've just worked out. If I've earned the carbs, I will eat 100 or so right after a workout. My blood sugar is usually 70 to 84 every morning. If I need to lean out, I stop eating post-workout carbs for 4 to 6 weeks and I get shredded. I respond well to raw eggs, raw liver, raw meat, and dairy. I don't eat any vegetable oils. So you can at least give him kudos that he's like reasonably following the shit that he preaches.
Yeah, he's at least eating the meat. That doesn't mean that he did everything else.
You know, he definitely believes in what he's preaching, with exception of the hormone part, which is a pretty fucking massive piece. But anyways, did you ever do a food allergy test? If so, what are you allergic to and which foods do you avoid? Not applicable. Do you feel
I thought it was meant not available. Okay.
Or fats? What kind of diet did you follow in the past, and have you done any carb cycling or keto? My energy is better with fat, and my cognition is better with fat. I add carbs post-workout for the muscle fullness. I do carb cycling and keto as needed. Filming, vacation, etc. What kind of foods do you like to eat that isn't bodybuilding related? Pizza, Thai, sushi, ice cream, etc.
Pretty
None.
good.
Even when I eat sushi, I have a sushi chef come over to make it to my specification. If I ever have ice cream, my wife makes a colostrum ice cream made out of first milk colostrum, egg yolks, vanilla extract.
That was
a little maple syrup.
colostrum.
You
That
should come
doesn't even
over
sound
and
nice.
Fuck that shit up with me. How is your mood as you go deeper into the diet? Can you function and continue with your jobs and deal with friends, family, or it becomes increasingly difficult to manage obligations outside of your bodybuilding goals? I can do anything. I am unequivocally strong in mind, heart, and spirit. How much water are you drinking per day, and what other beverages do you consume? I only drink coffee and natural Mountain Valley spring water in glass containers. Which supplements are you currently using? Brands, dosages, etc. What have you tried in the past that worked and didn't work? Are you using any of these supplements to cover a deficiency, like vitamin D3, for example? Ancestral supplements, thyroid, ancestral
Yeah,
supplements.
as long
heart,
as you're
ancestral
transparent
supplements,
about it, like I don't consider that a
bone marrow
problem.
and tallow.
Like I don't think you should be
N-acetylcysteine, 2
taking
grams per
illegal
day.
drugs or
TUDCA,
just.
1 gram. Creatine, 10 grams per
It's
day. Protein
I
powder.
struggle to like.
These are gonna be
I can
for
understand why they
liver,
would and
preventative
everything like
health
that, and I
from
don't know
liver
if it's
perspective,
addictive or
right?
not, and
Protect
it
the
all.
liver, avoid significant
But like, as long
stress
as you're
from,
transparent
wind
about it,
fall
I'm
using,
not
for
going to
example,
criticize you. But
etc.
my problem here
Or
is like Liver
glutathione
King just said
synthesis
straight
for
up
the
he stopped
neck,
doing it, and he
blah,
did,
blah, blah. Are you
and that's a
currently
dick
taking any
move.
medications? Which ones and for what purposes? SIP, as in testosterone cypionate,
And like
DECA,
testosterone replacement therapy
Omnitrope,
genuinely
growth hormone,
seems to have
MK677, and then all the other shit that
good
you mentioned
is a
in the
good
last
medical
email.
form of
Are you
treatment.
currently smoking, drinking, or taking any
So,
black
like,
drugs?
yeah,
No, I have
as long as you're
drugs
just
maybe
transparent
1 to
about
2
it.
days out of the month. Your training style now, do you follow any program at the moment? How long do you train? How many exercises and sets per body part? If you have any videos of yourself training, that would help tremendously. That way I can see your
Yeah,
form,
body.
so push
It's
yourself
called
through it.
body
The files are too
dysphoria.
big, you can upload them to Instagram or YouTube and set them to unlisted.
It's the
and send
same
me
as
the
it's
link.
like the
I
it's
follow
like
Westside
anorexia.
Conjugate
It's the
CrossFit,
same
90
thing.
minutes in the morning,
It's a state of
15 minutes in
mind.
the
They
afternoon.
have
I push myself
it's
to
like
the
body. I think it's
absolute
body
limit,
dysphoria
100%.
or something
I usually
like that.
do 4 to 5
So yeah, there's
exercises per
definitely
body part
it's
with 4
definitely a
to 6
mental
sets
illness
per
to some
exercise.
degree.
Do you have more energy at the beginning of the workout or strong all the way through? Fuck no. I'm dead at the end. Fucking dead. Sometimes I even have to nap
It's the
from
same sort
12
of
to
thing
1
with
p.m.
people
Are
that
you
get
currently
stacks
doing
of plastic
cardio?
surgery
So,
or even
what
plastic
kind,
surgery
how
in
long per
general.
day? Yes, always doing cardio. CrossFit, Metcons, 4 to 5 days per
There's
week.
definitely
Do
elements
you
of
have
mental
any
illness there.
injuries at the moment? Old injuries that have healed, broken bones, tendon issues, torn muscles, etc. Doing okay here. Do you
I
have any
mean,
experience
I've
ordering
known
supplements online?
some women.
Websites
I'm not
like
going to name who,
Amazon.com,
but
iHerb,
that have been into
bodybuilding.com.
that sort of
Who
stuff.
doesn't?
There are people
Let
with
me know
fetishes for
what's
everything,
next.
dude.
Oh,
There's
yeah. I take
literally
Wednesday and Sunday
fetishes
off.
for
On those
everything.
days, I do hard
So like,
shell H-bod
I
in
don't
my
find
house.
it physically
10
attractive. I don't
minutes
think it
cold
looks
plunge at
good.
house. Massage at house.
But like,
Walk
there's
6 to 9
people that are
miles,
into
do
it.
Tabata
I
push-ups,
don't think
or
that's
else
disputable.
I don't feel right in the head. Let's go! Exclamation mark. Lastly, let me know what you think about my Omnitrope questions I sent yesterday too. P.S. I'll send pictures and video files as soon as my creative director shares them with me. And that is the end of that email. Now moving on to the August 16th email, GH and IGF-1. Check this out. I did Omnitrope 1 hour before the blood test on August 4th. I did Norditropin 1 hour before the blood test on August 11th. My IGF-1 is slowly rising too. I'd love to get my IGF-1 to 300. Quick interjection for a note on the blood work analysis. I ended up doing it and it ended up being over an hour in length. I wanted it to be this succinct, concise, cursory overview of all of the blood test metrics, but he has a decent amount of blood work, and to do it the justice it deserves from an analysis context, it ended up being pretty long. So instead of derailing this video, I'm gonna make that blood work analysis a totally separate video for you guys who want to dig into that and see how his health metrics were affected from the HRT
Is that out?
he was using at first, and then the peptide introduction.
Is that video a
use,
thing?
The cranking of the GH, and the subsequent, introduction of synthetic anabolic steroids and whatnot. That is all very
Yeah, the
clearly
video's
elucidated
not
in
out
the blood
yet.
work, and you get my insight on it. In this video, we are going to get back to the meat and potatoes and a twist in the story that I was not expecting personally. The other day I was filtering through my emails to find the forwarded emails, the blood test results, do my interpretation of it, and I came across an unread email from May 2021. It was from the same address. So I'm on my Gmail. Emails get buried quick, so I'm filtering. Go at ancestralsupplements.com. It filters any email. It's from ancestralsupplements.com. And there's another one that pops up like underneath, older, significantly older than this one, unread. I'm like, huh. Open it up. So for me, I used to provide consults on my website. I stopped taking clients a couple of years ago, but those requests would still pile up, I guess, until I had removed the consult thing from my site. I don't even remember if I had removed it by then or not, but it might have still been like a link on my site to request a consult, or maybe they found it through Googling, because I think the URL domain or whatever, the site, the actual page where you would submit a request probably still exists. It's just not actually on the website anymore. But anyways, apparently sitting in the depths of my email inbox was an unread message from the man himself requesting bodybuilding coaching as well. May 2nd, 2021, from Brian Johnson, consult contact form at moreplates.com, reply to Liver King at ancestralsupplements.com, to admin at moreplates.com, my company email that I was using, Brian Johnson, Liver King at ancestralsupplements.com. I need to get shredded, have more energy, and get my brain working better, but I overtrain approximately 12 to 14 workouts a week and can't stop. I played around with peptides and would like to explore real GH like Omnitrope and others. I sleep well, eat well. I even have a hard shell hyperbaric oxygen therapy, presumably, cold plunge, sauna, etc. at my house. I need next level, which is why I'm reaching out. Can you reassure me that all information discussed, wish confidential, presumably will be held confidential. Fucking love your work. Pretty flattering, to be honest. May 2nd. So this is before, like, the other emails we just went through. Even the first blood test result was May 12th, I believe.
He wasn't really
So this
hiding
is
it well,
before
was he?
all of that. So this whole time, even when I'm making videos about the guy and like talking, doing, the natty or not stuff, this is sitting there, unread in my Gmail this whole fucking time, dude. Absolutely wild. Now, again, this isn't it. There was another email from somebody on his team this time. Interestingly
Exactly.
enough.
It's automatically
So
like,
this is,
I don't know.
redactions
It's-
on it to
it's insane.
keep the personal information private, because again, this is just some guy in his company. Don't necessarily want to just
I
put
mean,
out
I don't
there,
think you're wrong,
"Hey,
man.
this fucking guy sent this."
His whole
So,
brand is literally
this guy
built on like,
presumably is
I'm
the
not
high-up guy in the
juiced.
company. He has an ancestral
Literally his whole
supplements
brand.
extension email, and the fact that he even knows this stuff, like obviously he must be pretty high up in there, because I assume this isn't something that Liver King like puts out there to the masses regularly. But who knows? Like maybe he was more open about it back then he decided, at the last minute, you know what? I am just going to claim natural, and
Yeah,
nobody's gonna
he
find out.
realized there would
But
be more
anyways,
money if he claimed
Full-Plate
natural,
Tornadoes,
so he
HGH
did.
Dosage video idea /intros, the subject line from blank at ancestralsupplements.com. Hey,
Yeah,
bro,
it's-
I reached
it's
out to you on
definitely a
Instagram.
I
Realized
done
should
goofed
probably hit
moment,
you in a few
100%.
places. I work with Brian Liver King Johnson, owner of Ancestral Supplements. So for context, by the way, I went and checked to see if there was a DM from this guy and put his alias, preface of his email and what he called himself into Instagram, see if I could find it, because it wasn't actually his name. It was just like, I don't even remember what it was, but it's been redacted. But anyways, I put it into Instagram, went to there was a DM from somebody who had the same handle, and it was unsent. So to me, that was pretty indicative that was probably the same guy. And like when you see a DM and it shows like a request, you want to accept or reject it, and it's just blank, that you know that somebody sent a DM and then unsent it, so it looks blank, but the request is still showing. To me, that was probably the same guy. He probably unsent the message after he saw that I didn't respond, or perhaps they decided they wanted to go the claiming natty route after and wanted to just like get rid of the DMs. I don't really know. But anyways, I work with Brian Johnson, owner of Ancestral Supplements. We recently secured him an HGH
I don't think you
prescription. He's
will.
taking
Very
quadruple
rarely
dose
when
with
there's
little
something
benefit.
that's so laid out like
Omnitrope,
this
Somatropin.
and
Brian has
periodic,
some
like
questions in that
one
video about
after
why
the
he not
other,
even
very
responded
clear
to
and
the
concise.
HGH, and I think you can pull some good
To
shit
save
out of your
face, they
conversation with
won't
him
take
for
that.
content. I can hook
They,
y'all up.
particularly when they
email,
know
we can
they've
live
done
on
something wrong,
Zipbox or
people
however,
don't
or
go
connect
through
via
it
Skype
bit
video.
by bit by
Maybe
bit
an
by bit.
interesting
They just
change
don't
of
do that.
scenery for him. LOL.
They don't break
If
it
you want
down.
to get paid, name your price.
Like
bro. I think you'll
I've seen a
agree
little bit of
at time
the
grind,
Liver King
connection
apology, and it's
itself
literally
is
just
priceless.
deflecting,
Look us up,
deflecting,
ancestralsupplements.com.
deflecting,
Give me a
deflecting.
call, shoot me a text, or email me, and let's make this happen.
We'll
Talk to
watch
you
it
soon.
after it.
So yeah, very much trying to dissect and figure out why the quadruple dose of pharma-grade GH is not working. Understandably so, because I would be definitely interested in that as well. To me, this sort of corroborated that the leaked emails were legit, because like to me, again, when I first saw those emails, it's just like random emails being forwarded to me. You know, could they have been manipulated? Is like the handle even legit? Like again, when I see the @ancestralsupplement.com handle, when I see the signature that's like blatantly his, when I see the contact form, like what is being put in there, the language being used, like the corroborating blood work, like I was pretty certain that it was legitimate to begin with, especially given the dates, the outline of exactly what he was going to do, the meticulous strategy around the social media, blah, blah, blah. But then getting this in my email as well, with all the exact same corroborating information, like really backed up that in fact, it was legit after all. So fucking wild to say the least.
You'll
While I
find
certainly
Liver
don't
King will
agree
just
with
go really
everything Liver
quiet
King
for a couple
recommends
months and
regarding
then just make a
fitness,
miraculous
lifestyle,
comeback.
there's a
That's
lot
usually
that
how
I
this
do
thing
agree
goes
with. I
down.
do truly believe that many people would benefit from incorporating some of his suggestions into their lives, some things more so than others. Like for example, I mentioned briefly earlier, eating an ounce of liver per day. I would generally recommend for most people looking to optimize their micronutrient intake. Beef liver, I have like an ounce of beef liver every single day, regardless of how deep in a deficit I go. And if somebody truly didn't like the taste of liver, you know, is taking a liver supplement a viable alternative? Absolutely, I think so. And I don't feel it's unethical at all to promote
I feel like
that
this
in that
advice only
context.
applies to
But
people that
I would also
genuinely
tell you
want to
that
get
sunning your
big. I
balls
don't
is
think like your
almost
average
certainly
person
not
should
worth your
just be
time. Like, there's
introducing liver
things
into their
he says that I
diet.
just
Like,
don't agree with. In
I-
general, the
especially if you're like
messaging regarding
fine, right?
lifestyle changes that the Liver
This
King
is
spreading to
only
the
if you're
masses
like
is
trying to get
arguably
juiced.
a positive one on the surface overall. However, that is shrouded in a cloud of deception. It seems as if the Liver King has decided on behalf of the millions who follow him and the millions that will follow him in the future that it is better to not just keep them in the dark about his drug use, but to also lie about it when questioned. If he
Mhm.
was natural with a less impressive physique, he would likely not be as viral as he is on social media. If he openly talked about his hormone use, it would likely make people question just how impactful the 9 ancestral tenets really are relative to the drugs he's taking, and he would convert less viewers into believers and paying customers. If he candidly talked about the unhealthy stress he subjects his body to in order to look a certain way to push his message, it would likely reflect poorly on him as a leader in the health and wellness space, and far fewer people would take him seriously.
Yep.
If he was totally transparent about the financial
He's
upside
exactly right.
the explosion of the Liver King brand has had on his businesses, it would likely detract from the noble intentions he portrays his actions to be underpinned by.
He's right.
And that ultimately is the crux of the Liver King.
He's 100% right. He's 100% right. All right, let's watch all the deflecting. Oh, I forgot. It's all in the left ear. It's literally all in the left ear. I don't think I'm not gonna watch. I can't. Does anybody even mention the fact people believe this? Like, does anybody ever comment like, why is it all in my left ear, bruh? I don't think we watch it, dude. It's all in my left ear. It's so annoying. I want to know when that when the breakdown video comes of his blood work. The blood work can't lie. The blood, like, he can say he's taking X amount of this and X amount of that, right? But blood work doesn't lie. Blood work tells you exactly how much is getting into his system. I need that blood work video. I don't care if it's an hour long. We'll sit through that. We'll sit through that whole thing. All right. Is amazing to watch. I don't disbelieve it. He lays everything out very periodically and very nice, very easy to follow. It's very good. It's very good. I might play some Warzone, I think. Let me see. I'm gonna play a little bit of Warzone. Yeah, I'm gonna play. If you want to play Warzone, dude, let me know. I feel like a little bit of Warzone. What the hell was that sound?